Welcome back. So far, our vectors have added, scaled, and combined through the dot product. Today we meet a second product that exists only in three-dimensional space, and then we put it to work building the two flattest, most useful objects in geometry, the line and the plane. The star of the episode is the cross product. Given two vectors u and v in space, it produces a third vector that is perpendicular to both of them, and whose length is the area of the parallelogram they span. We will compute it as a determinant, fix its direction with the right-hand rule, and see why no such product exists in the plane or in higher dimensions. Then, we use vectors to describe a line as a point plus a parameter times a direction. And we use a single normal vector to nail down an entire plane, writing it in point normal form and in the familiar general equation. We finish by measuring the distance from a point to a plane. Let's begin. Here is the cross product. Given two vectors, u and v in three-dimensional space, their cross product, written u cross v, is itself a vector, and it is defined by two properties. First, its direction, u cross v, is perpendicular to both u and v, sticking straight out of the plane the two of them span. Second, its magnitude, the length of u cross v equals the magnitude of u times the magnitude of v times the sine of the angle between them. Notice that is a sine, not a cosine like the dot product. To actually compute it, you write a formal determinant. On the top row go the unit vectors I, j, and k. On the second row, the components of u. On the third row, the components of v. Expand along that top row, and you get the vector whose first component is u2v3 minus u3v2, second component is u3v1 minus u1v3, and third component is u1v2 minus u2v1. That middle component is the one people forget the sign on, so handle it with care. Of the two directions perpendicular to both u and v, which one does the cross product pick? The right-hand rule decides. Point the fingers of your right hand along u, then curl them toward v through the smaller angle. Your thumb now points along u cross v. This is the same-handedness that orients our coordinate axes. One immediate consequence, if you swap the order and compute v cross u, your fingers curl the other way and the thumb flips, so v cross u equals negative u cross b. We say the cross product is anti-commutative, order matters, and reversing it reverses the sign. The unit vectors follow a clean cyclic pattern. I cross j is k, j cross k is I, and k cross I is j. Go around the cycle forward and you get a plus, backward, and you get a minus. A few facts worth memorizing. Any vector crossed with itself is the zero vector. Two vectors are parallel exactly when their cross product is zero, and the cross product dotted back into either input always gives zero. That is just perpendicularity restated. Let's see why the length of the cross product is an area. Place u and v with a common tail. They span a parallelogram. Take the length of u as the base. The height of the parallelogram is the perpendicular distance from the tip of v up to the line through u, and a little trigonometry shows that height is the magnitude of v times the sine of the angle. So the area, base times height, is the magnitude of u times the magnitude of v times the sine of the angle, which is exactly the magnitude of the cross product. Two nice consequences follow. The triangle with sides u and v is half the parallelogram, so its area is 1/2 the magnitude of u cross v. And the cross product is the zero vector precisely when u and v are parallel, because then the parallelogram is squashed flat and has zero area. One last remark on why this product is special to three dimensions. Asking for a single vector perpendicular to two given vectors only has a clean answer in three-dimensional space. In the plane, there is no room to point out of it, and in four dimensions there are too many perpendicular directions to choose just one. 3 is the cross product's home. Now we use vectors to describe a line in space. A line is determined by two pieces of data, one point it passes through and a direction it travels. Call the point p0 with coordinates x0, y0, z0, and call the direction vector d with components a, b, and c. To reach any point on the line, start at p0 and walk some amount t in the direction of d. In vector form, the position r of t equals r0 plus t times d, where the parameter t runs over all real numbers. Writing that out one component at a time gives the parametric equations. X equals x0 plus at, y equals y0 plus bt, and z equals z0 plus ct. As t sweeps from negative to positive, the point traces the whole line. If you solve each equation for t and set them equal, you get the symmetric form, a chain of 3 equal fractions. And if instead you are handed 2 points p and q, just take the direction vector to be q minus p, the displacement from one to the other. A plane is the flat two-dimensional sheet living inside three-dimensional space, and the elegant way to pin it down uses a single vector. Here is the key idea. A plane is determined by one point on it together with a normal vector, a vector perpendicular to the plane, telling you which way the plane faces. Call that normal n with components a, b, c. Now ask when an arbitrary point lies on the plane through P0. It lies on the plane exactly when the displacement from P0 to that point is perpendicular to the normal, and perpendicular means the dot product is 0, so n dotted with the displacement r minus r0 equals 0. Writing the dot product out in components gives the point normal form, a times the quantity x minus x0 plus b times y minus y0 plus c times z minus z0 equals 0. Multiply that out and collect the constant on the right, and you get the familiar general equation, ax plus by plus cz equals d. The beautiful part is that the coefficients a, b, c are nothing but the components of the normal vector, read right off the equation. Here is the cross product made visible. Two arrows leave the origin, u in blue and v in orange, both lying flat, roughly in the floor of our coordinate frame. The light blue parallelogram is the region they span. Rising straight up out of that floor, perpendicular to the whole parallelogram, is the red arrow, the cross product u cross v. The little right angle marks where it meets u and v confirm that it is perpendicular to both. The curling orange arrow shows the right-hand rule in action, it sweeps from u toward v, and the small right hand beside it has its fingers following that curl while the thumb points straight up along the red arrow. That is how you read off the direction. Two facts are encoded in this one picture. The direction of the red arrow is fixed by the right-hand curl from u to v, and the length of the red arrow equals the area of the blue parallelogram. Direction from the hand, length from the area, the whole cross product in a single image. Here is the geometry of a plane. The translucent gray sheet is the plane itself tilted in space. Marked on it is the point P0, our anchor. The bold red arrow leaving P0 is the normal vector n, standing perpendicular to the sheet. The right angle tick where it meets the surface makes that explicit. Now look at the second point P also on the sheet, with a thin blue arrow drawn from P0 to P. That blue arrow lies entirely within the plane, and because the normal sticks straight out, the blue arrow is perpendicular to the normal. That perpendicularity, written as a dot product equal to 0, is the entire equation of the plane. Finally, look at the point Q floating above the sheet, not on the plane. The dashed red segment drops straight down from Q to the plane along the normal direction. Its length is the distance from Q to the plane, and because it runs parallel to the normal, we will compute it with a projection onto n in just a moment. Let's compute one. Take u equal to the vector 2, 1, negative 1, and v equal to the vector 1, 3, 2. Set up the determinant with I, j, k on top, u on the second row, v on the third. Expand along the top. The I component is 1 times 2 minus negative 1 times 3, that is 2 plus 3, which is 5. The j component carries a minus sign in front, minus the quantity 2 times 2 minus negative 1 times 1, that is, minus the quantity 4 plus 1, giving negative 5. The k component is 2 times 3 minus 1 times 1, that is 6 minus 1, which is 5. So u cross v is the vector 5, negative 5, 5. Always check perpendicularity. U dotted with the result is 10 minus 5 minus 5, which is 0. V dotted with the result is 5 minus 15 plus 10, also 0. Both pass, so our signs are right. Finally, the area of the parallelogram u and v span is the magnitude of the cross product, the square root of 25 plus 25 plus 25, which is 5 times the square root of 3. Now a classic, find the plane passing through three given points a, b, and c. The strategy is to build a normal vector using the cross product. First, get two vectors that lie in the plane by subtracting points. The vector from a to b is 2, 1, negative 1. The vector from a to c is 1, 2, 1. Both of these lie flat in the plane, so a vector perpendicular to both of them is perpendicular to the whole plane. That is exactly a normal. Cross them. The result works out to the vector 3, negative 3, 3, which points in the same direction as the simpler vector 1, negative 1, 1, so we use that as our normal. Now apply the point normal form using point A, which is 1, 0, 2. We get 1 times the quantity x minus 1 times y, plus 1 times the quantity z minus 2 equals 0. Multiply out and collect x minus y plus z equals 3. You can check it by plugging in all 3 points, each one satisfies the equation. Last example, how far is a point from a plane? Let Q be the point, and let the plane be a x plus by plus cz equals d. The distance is the absolute value of a times x1, plus b times y1, plus c times z1, minus d, all divided by the square root of a squared plus b squared plus c squared. Here is where it comes from. Pick any point P0 on the plane. The distance from Q to the plane is the length of the shadow of the displacement from P0 to Q, cast onto the normal direction. That is the projection onto the unit normal. Working that projection out in components collapses to the boxed formula, and the denominator is just the length of the normal, turning it into a unit vector. Let's use it. Take q equal to 1, 2, 3, and the plane x minus y plus z equals 3, the one we found a moment ago. Plug in, 1 minus 2 plus 3 minus 3 is -1, its absolute value is 1. The denominator is the square root of 3, so the distance is 1 over the square root of 3, clean. A little history. In 1843, William Rowan Hamilton invented quaternions, a four-dimensional number system whose three imaginary parts, which he named I, j, and k, multiply by exactly the cyclic rules our unit vectors obey, I times j gives k, and so on around the cycle. The year after, in 1844, Hermann Grassmann introduced the exterior product, a dimension-free ancestor of the cross product that measures areas and volumes in any number of dimensions, far ahead of its time. In the 1880s, Josiah Willard Gibbs at Yale and Oliver Heaviside in England split Hamilton's single quaternion product into the two pieces we use today, the dot product and the cross product. And through the 19th century, mathematicians like Cauchy and Hesse worked out the normal form of a plane and the tidy distance formula we just used. So the cross product you compute with a 3x3 determinant is really the three-dimensional shadow of a much richer algebra. Let's recap. The cross product of u and v is computed as the determinant with I, j, k on top and the two vectors below. It returns a vector perpendicular to both with length equal to the magnitude of u times the magnitude of v times the sine of the angle, which is the area of the parallelogram they span. The right-hand rule fixes its direction, curl your fingers from u to v, and your thumb gives you cross v. It is anti-commutative, and it exists only in 3 dimensions. We then wrote a line as a point plus a parameter times a direction vector, giving the parametric equations. We pinned down a plane with a point and a normal vector, leading to the point normal form and the general equation ax plus by plus cz equals d, whose coefficients are the normal's components. To find the plane through 3 points, cross 2 in-plane vectors to get the normal. And the distance from a point to a plane is the absolute value of the plane equation evaluated at the point, divided by the length of the normal. Next episode, we treat a plane as a single linear equation and start stacking them, the doorway into systems and matrices. Today, we built the cross product and used it to describe lines and planes. The cross product of u and v lives only in 3 dimensions. You compute it as the determinant of a 3x3 array with I, j, k on the top row, the components of u on the second row, and the components of v on the third. The result is a vector perpendicular to both u and v, and its length equals the magnitude of u times the magnitude of v times the sine of the angle between them, which is exactly the area of the parallelogram they span. The right-hand rule fixes which of the 2 perpendicular directions you get, point your fingers along u, curl them toward v, and your thumb points along u cross v. Swapping the order flips the sign. We then traced a line as a point plus a parameter times a direction vector, giving the parametric equations. We pinned down a plane with a single normal vector through the point normal form, which multiplies out to the general equation ax plus by plus cz equals d, and we measured the distance from a point to a plane by projecting onto the normal. Next episode, a plane is just one linear equation in 3 unknowns, and stacking equations leads us straight into systems and matrices. If you got something out of this, please like the video, drop a comment with what clicked for you or what didn't, and subscribe for more educational videos. Every like, comment, and share helps push this work to more learners, which is what this channel is really about. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one.